Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Richardson with name 210205001. And today I'm going to discuss about the journal, and the title is Improving Student Reading Skill Through the Use of Reciprocal Teaching Technique. Without wasting the time, let me begin. This research aimed to find out if reciprocal teaching strategy able to improve the student reading comprehension and the factors that influence the improvement of the student reading skill. Now, this research was an action research with the participants of the research were the third semester students of 2018 until 2019 academic year of ST IBA Persada Bunda Pekanbaru, which consisted of 13 students. The instruments used to collect the data were from observation checklists, field notes, interview, and reading tasks. The results show that there are two main findings, which is reciprocal teaching strategy was able to improve the student reading skill, and there were several factors that could influence the improvement of their reading skill, involved teaching material, teacher's knowledge, student interaction, and assessment activities. In conclusion, the implementation of reciprocal teaching technique was able to provide a good result on their reading comprehension. The table of content that we are going to discuss is the first introduction, the second is method, and the last is finding and discussion. The first discussion is introduction. Reading occupies large portion in teaching learning activities. Now, having a good ability in reading is a demand for students, especially for them who studying English department. Now, if they have a good ability in reading comprehension, they will be able to gain information well. As a result, they will be easy to follow the lecture well. Now, but if they have lack ability in reading, they will fail or get difficulties during their study. So, the ability to comprehend a reading text is a key to be a successful learner. Now, students must realize that the aim of reading is to comprehend the text rather than pronouncing the printed material in their effort to expand and enrich their knowledge. Now, because of reading comprehension is the power to get an idea or meaning from written text, understanding it by processing the experience and prior knowledge. Now, there are some factors that influence the student in reading. The first is intelligence. Every student has different level of intelligence. So it will be possible from them to produce different comprehension. The number of ideas that they understand and depth on their understanding will be depending on their general capacity to learn. Now the second is experience. Students with limited experience may have difficulty in comprehending many ideas and activities which other students are familiar before they come to school. Third is mechanics of reading. Comprehension will be easier for the student if they have all mastered the skill of word attack and word meaning. Now, the mechanics of reading will significantly contribute to comprehension, where identifying topic, main idea, detail, reference, figuring out the meaning of vocabulary in context, and identifying explicit and implicit meaning. Now, based on the writer experience in teaching reading skill in STIBA, Persada Bunda, most of the students have low ability in reading. They were unable to comprehend the text well, as they often encounter difficulty when interpreting the text. Now, it can be caused by several factors. The first is the vocabulary is not familiar for them, and the second is the lecturer was unable to choose appropriate strategy for teaching reading. Now, there are some strategies and teaching to improve student achievement as well as their interaction during class. One of them is reciprocal teaching. Now, the reciprocal teaching technique is an effective way to improve student reading comprehension because it can be inherited that this technique develop comprehension of text in which teacher and student take turn leading dialogue concerning section of the text. There are four activities that are incorporated into the technique. The first is summarizing, second is questioning, the third is clarifying, and the fourth is predicting. Now, from the previous explanation, reciprocal teaching is a suitable technique to be employed for improving student interaction during the process because this technique help them how to learn, remember, and motivate themselves. The technique may serve a good way in raising students' motivation, cooperation, responsibility, leadership, and social relation among them. After all the explanation, the purpose of the research was to identify whether and to what extent reciprocal teaching can improve students' reading ability, and also explain the factor that influence the changes in reading ability. The second discussion is method. Let me begin the discussion. This research was conducted by using action research. Now, action research as the spot procedure designed to deal with a concrete problem located in an immediate situation. Now, it means that the step-by-step process is constantly monitored over varying period of time and by variety mechanisms so that the ensuing feedback may be translated into modification, adjustment, directional changes, and redefinition to bring about lasting benefit to the process by itself. In this research, both of quantitative and qualitative data were collected. Quantitative data were collected by using reading tests and tasks. Qualitative data collected by using observation and interview. This technique involves some from observation of professional action in learning process. In this study, checklists or observation schedule were chosen as a technique for collecting the data. The method of recording the data was real-time observation. It means that the observation and interview observe and analyze when the teaching and learning happen without using any electronic media to recall the data. In this research, two instruments were used, namely quantitative and qualitative instrument. As I explained before, the quantitative instrument made in the form of tests and tasks. The indicator from reading tasks were identifying main idea, identifying reference, and figuring out the meaning of vocabulary in context. Whereas qualitative instrument in the form of observation and entry. Observation conducted by using field note and observation guide. The observation guide was designed to observe student activity during the class, such as the student interaction and applying four strategies such as summarizing, questioning, clarifying, and predicting. This research was conducted to improve reading skill by using reciprocal teaching. The third discussion and our last discussion is about finding and discussion. Let me begin. Both of qualitative and quantitative data were analyzed to meet the finding. The cycle was done in four meetings, including the post-test. It was applied to four step of action research, planning, action, observation, and reflection. Now, the first meeting, the students were informed that the research will be conducted by applying reciprocal teaching technique. In the second meeting, the lecturer guided the student to lead the discussion in their group. In the third meeting, the discussion was led by the student. They were successful in implementing every step of the reciprocal teaching. At the end of the cycle, or in the fourth meeting, the post-test was given to students to see the technique effectiveness. From the interview, it could be inferred that classroom activity was one factor that effective teaching learning process. Reciprocal teaching strategy was effective to create a good interaction among students. They shared their opinion with other friends. The data from observation checklist and the field notes showed that most of students were unable to run the discussion well. As a result, they felt the strategy gave improvement in their reading comprehension. From the finding, it was shown that the implementation of reciprocal teaching made effective teaching learning process in reading comprehension. The classroom interaction made some students more confident to do the tasks and improve their skill in reading comprehension, especially in identifying main idea, identifying reference, and figuring out the meaning of vocabulary in context. Now, reciprocal teaching strategy was chosen as it promoted not only reading comprehension but also to monitor their own learning and thinking. Besides that, the reciprocal teaching strategy may serve the good ways in raising student motivation, cooperation, responsibility, leadership, and social relationship among them. In conclusion, based on the research that has been conducted, reciprocal teaching has successful in improving students' reading comprehension. Reciprocal teaching is an effective way to improve student reading comprehension because it helps the student read the problem they've been through and helps them to how to learn, remember, and motivate themselves. Reading comprehension was influenced by several factors such as classroom activity, material, teacher's knowledge, and assessment activity. Since reciprocal teaching strategy is very useful in improving students' reading comprehension, it is recommended to lecturer as well as teachers to implement this strategy to their class. Alright, I think that's all for my discussion. Thank you very much for your kind attention to watch my video, and I'm very sorry if my discussion has it's not good and I have some mispronunciation in some word. Thank you very much for your kind attention to watch my video. Wabillahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.